Wednesday. Charean, let's focus first, though, on the one I didn't mention. Buccaneers receiver Chris Godwin. That was a surprise to me because I thought the tag was going to go to Shaq Barrett. I thought it was going to be Shaq Barrett tagged, linebacker, pass rusher. It would have been the second time for him at $18.99 million, or long-term deal for Barrett and Godwin tagged. What we got is Godwin tagged, no tag for Barrett. Obviously, you got one per team, and no deal yet. We reported earlier today via Twitter. I don't think I wrote this, but we reported on Twitter that they're talking to Shaq Barrett about a long-term deal, but their leverage went out the window. Their ability to block him from the market went out the window because as of now, he can walk away in 8 days and sign with anyone he wants. And that's a risky move for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I think that Shaq Barrett's a lot more important to that team, frankly, in all due respect to Chris Godwin, than Godwin is.
You know what it tells me, Mike? It tells me something we already knew. It just confirms it. Tom Brady is firmly in charge of this organization. He has a hand. He has a say. It's his team. It's his face of the organization. I guarantee you he wanted Chris Godwin back, so the Bucs made sure Chris Godwin was coming back. They have so much depth at receiver. There was no need to apply the tag. Let Chris Godwin walk away. You've got Tyler Johnson. You've got Scotty Miller. You've got, of course, Mike Evans. You've got plenty of receivers. You can re-sign AB for less money. Tons of options there at receiver. But, Mike, they better get Shaq Barrett re-signed or they better find a pass rusher because he is the guy. I don't know that the Bucs would have won the Super Bowl without Shaq Barrett. When you look at the 4 sacks and the 8 quarterback pressures that he had in the last 2 games, the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, they could not have done it without him. He was a big part of that, and they have no one else to rush the passer like Shaq Barrett can rush the passer. So they either need to re-sign him or find someone else to replace him, which may be even more costly, to get this thing done and have a chance at a repeat.
Now, maybe they're looking at this year's free agency class, and this was something that dawned on me not that long ago looking at some of the depth charts we were going through yesterday, the teams in the NFC West.
Yeah.
And which defenders are better than J.J. Watt, or which defenders would you rather have? And my God, the number of free agents, and league-wide, the number of pass rushers due to become free agents. Maybe they're thinking, look, we got Shaq Barrett on a 1-year deal from the Denver Broncos 2 years ago, and it worked out. We'll go get someone else like that. We've got Vita Vea on the inside. We've got JPP on the other side. Maybe they bring back Ndamukong Suh. Maybe they're just realizing that Shaq Barrett, too rich for the Buccaneers' blood. And, you know, the reality is they tag him this year, and he said, I want to break the bank. They tag him this year, and he's like the other guys who have been tagged for a second time, Justin Simmons, Brandon Scherf, etc. Long-term deal by July 15 or walks away next year, because next year, the third tag for non-quarterbacks, the tag becomes quarterback money or a 44% bump. So there's no way he was going to get tagged a third time, and now the question is, will he stay? And if not, who are they targeting to replace him? And maybe there's somebody out there they already have an eye on. Look, it would be naive to assume that in not tagging Shaq Barrett, the Buccaneers don't have a plan for replacing him. I don't think let's see what happens is the plan that the Buccaneers have hatched here, Charean.
No, probably not, Mike. And let's not be naive either. I mean, we know the negotiating period doesn't start for a little bit, but let's be honest. They've already talked. Agents have talked. They know where teams stand. They know who's interested in their players. You know, we all know that. They're naive to think that doesn't happen. So I firmly believe they have a plan, but whatever their plan is, they better make sure it works, and they better lock up one of these guys. I like Shaq Barrett and think he fits their defense perfectly. I mean, the 19.5 sacks last season was fantastic. I mean, 2019 was fantastic. He followed that up with 8 sacks this year. And as I said, he was so important in that playoff run for the Buccaneers. I just think he's a big part of what they do. So I would hope that they would try to get him back. We know they re-signed Lavonte David today to a 2-year deal they've agreed to. So they did get one of those pieces back on their defense. They need Shaq Barrett back too, in my opinion.
And let me tell you, Lavonte David is not signing the 2-year extension to stay with the Buccaneers unless he has looked around and found out what else is out there. It happens. It's tampering. Sometimes tampering helps a team because in this case, the fact if it happened, and it would have been malpractice, frankly, by Lavonte David's agent if it didn't happen. If David called around, Browns, for example, were linked to David. Well, okay, let's have a hypothetical conversation. If hypothetically a veteran linebacker who hypothetically plays for a team in Tampa and hypothetically has been there since 2012 hypothetically becomes available, what hypothetically would you be willing to pay? There's a way to find out. And you find out what's behind door number 1 and door number 2 before you accept what's behind either door. That's probably, if not likely, what happened here. And it helped the Buccaneers, gauging the market. It's okay for the agents to do it. It's tampering for the teams to do it. It happens all the time. The problem is every once in a while, something falls into the NFL's lap and they whack somebody for it just kind of arbitrarily, like the Chiefs a few years ago when, God forbid, Andy Reid spoke directly to Jeremy Maclin at a time when he was only allowed to speak to Maclin's agent to negotiate a contract. So that's the risk. But the reward can be for the team that has the guy under contract. The guy knows that it's better for him to stay put where he is 2 more years for Lavonte David. Now, I think with Shaq Barrett, it's entirely possible, Charean, that he wants so much, because he used that line in one of his radio visits after the Super Bowl. He wants to break the bank. Maybe they know he wants so much he's not going to get it. So maybe this is one where you let him go see what's out there. And he realizes that what he wants isn't out there, so come back on a 1-year deal, just like 2 years ago. You know, maybe get the same amount he would have gotten under the franchise tag last year, not a 20% bump, something incentive-based based on sacks, whatever, and then he can become a free agent again in 2022 when the salary cap goes up. So it's not over yet, but it is surprising that the tag was applied to Godwin and Barrett doesn't have a deal. But they've got Godwin, they've got David, they hope to get Barrett. They, I think, would like to keep Ndamukong Suh, but they're chipping away at keeping the band together. It's still going to take some time and effort to make it happen.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.